Welcome, dear listener, to a collection of stories spun from the delicate pages of the Whispering Light. Each tale held within this enchanted tome was lovingly crafted by the gentle hand of Queen Simone, the kind-hearted ruler of the Kingdom of Tranquil Dreams. Her words are a soothing melody, a balm for restless hearts, and a guiding light through the wonders of imagination. So, let your mind drift, and your heart be light, for what you are about to hear is no ordinary story. It is a gift, passed down through the ages, meant to bring joy, laughter, and a touch of magic to all who listen. This tale is called The Measure of True Wealth. In a quiet corner of the parking lot outside Pinnacle Bank, a homeless woman sat wrapped in a tattered coat, her hood pulled low to shield her face from the cold morning air. She was almost invisible to the world as people hurried past without glancing at her. Roger arrived early that morning, his custom suit perfectly pressed and his black leather shoes gleaming. He tossed his keys to the valet with a flick of his wrist and approached the bank's entrance, his briefcase swinging confidently by his side. As he passed the woman sitting by the wall, he slowed just enough to smirk. "Why don't you crawl away?" he said, nudging her with the tip of his shoe. "This place isn't a shelter, you know. Go find somewhere else to be a filthy mess." The woman flinched but said nothing. Roger chuckled, pleased with her silence, and continued on his way without a second glance. Later that morning, Teresa arrived, carrying a steaming coffee cup in one hand and her designer handbag in the other. As she walked past the homeless woman, her expression curled into a sneer. "You're still here?" Teresa muttered, more to herself than anyone else. She took a sip of her coffee, then tipped the cup slightly. The liquid splashed onto the woman's coat, staining the already worn fabric. "Oops," Teresa said with a smile, her voice dripping with false sweetness. "Guess you should watch where you're sitting. You should feel lucky that the coffee has lost some of its heat." The woman remained silent, pulling her coat tighter around herself. Teresa gave a short laugh, satisfied, and walked into the bank. Later that day, Louis arrived, his simple, off-the-rack suit showing signs of wear. He carried a worn messenger bag over his shoulder and wore shoes that had seen better days. Louis didn't own a car. Most days, he took the bus and walked the half-mile from the bus stop to the bank. Sometimes, he was fortunate enough to have a friend or family member give him a ride. As he made his way toward the entrance, he spotted the woman sitting by the wall. Without hesitation, he stopped and crouched down beside her. "Hi there," Louis said gently. "It's cold today. Are you hungry? I have an extra breakfast sandwich if you like sausage and eggs." The woman nodded slowly, and Louis handed her a neatly wrapped sandwich from his bag. "It's not much, but it's still warm and yours if you want it." Over the next few days, Louis continued to check in on her, offering food, spare change, and words of kindness. One afternoon, they sneered as Roger and Teresa passed by and saw Louis talking with her. "Really, Louis?" Roger called out. "You think feeding the homeless is going to get you that promotion? You're more likely to get fleas and require a tetanus shot mucking around with that nasty cow." Teresa added with a smirk, "Yeah, I'm getting itchy just looking at her. Maybe you should focus more on squeezing money from our paying clients instead of playing the part of a saint." Louis stood, his expression calm. "Some things are more important than money, you know." Roger rolled his eyes. "Yeah, right. With that attitude, you shouldn't be surprised when one of us gets the promotion. Enjoy your charity work." Teresa gave her nasally laugh, threw some loose coins at the homeless woman's head, and laughed all the harder when tears twinkled in the helpless woman's eyes. "Go bathe in the gutter and buy yourself a dream." "Hey!" Louis bellowed. "That wasn't necessary. It costs nothing to be kind." "But it cost everything to be a charitable fool," Teresa called over her shoulder as she and Roger strode across the parking lot to return to work. Louis balled his fist. He had to count to 10 and grind his teeth to keep from shouting the words that flooded his thoughts just then. Regaining a measure of his earlier composure and relaxing the tension, he turned back to the woman seated on the asphalt and smiled. "I'm sorry about those two. Please ignore what they said. Look, if you ever need more help," he said gently, "my church has resources. I'd be happy to connect you with them. Just say the word." The woman nodded but remained silent, watching Louis continue on his way, his quiet kindness lingering like a warm breeze. At the end of the week, Roger, Teresa, and Louis were summoned to the top-floor conference room for what they believed would be their final interview. The air buzzed with anticipation as they took their seats around the long, polished table. Roger leaned toward Louis, smirking. "I still can't believe you made it this far in the interview process. I guess the powers that be have to make at least it look like anyone has a chance for advancement." Teresa laughed softly. As if you have a chance. I saw your resume. All you have is a high school diploma. You're better off working a French fry station at one of those fast food junk stops. A chuckle left Roger's lips. Louis adjusted his tie calmly, ignoring their jabs. The door opened, and a well-dressed woman entered. Her silver-streaked hair was pinned neatly back, and her tailored suit exuded quiet authority. She moved with purpose, taking a seat at the head of the table. Good morning, the woman greeted, her voice warm yet steady. Thank you all for being here. And thank you for submitting your names for consideration for the open position. Upper management and I are always looking to promote from within. Now, shall we get started? The three individuals vying for the coveted spot nodded and remained respectfully silent. My name is Ruth Morris, the woman stated. I am the CEO of Pinnacle Bank. As you have already been made aware by your respective supervisors, I will be conducting the final interview. I will begin by asking 2 questions. The first is, how do you feel about hard work? Roger straightened in his seat, flashing his most charming smile. I believe working hard is the true measure of a person, he said confidently. I always go the extra mile. Same here, Teresa added with a sweet smile. I'm a firm believer in proper time management, which is a foundational principle in working hard. You should always give 100% in whatever task you do, no matter the task size, Louis added. Ruth Morris nodded thoughtfully. For my second question. How do you treat those less fortunate than you are? She asked. Oh, kindness is important, Teresa answered smoothly. I believe in helping every man, woman, and child in need. Roger chuckled. My sentiments exactly. There is no room for selfishness when others are in need. Louis suppressed a sigh upon hearing his colleague's hollow words. He merely stated that he honestly sought to make a better world for all in his sphere of influence. The CEO's expression remained unchanged. Interesting, she said softly, because, for the past week, I've had the opportunity to observe each of you very closely. A heavy silence fell over the room. Would it surprise you to learn I was the homeless woman sitting outside the bank? She asked evenly. Roger's smug grin vanished. Teresa's face paled. What? Teresa whispered, disbelief creeping into her voice. Ruth Morris looked each of them in the eye. Yes. And through your actions, you've shown me exactly who you are. She turned to Louis, her gaze softening. Louis, you treated me with kindness and dignity when you had no reason to. That is the kind of leadership we need. Then, her gaze hardened as she looked at Roger and Teresa. And you too? Your behavior was unacceptable. The bank's mission statement is rooted in our belief that all men and women should have equal access to quality financial products and always receive kindness and respect from those who work here. This bank has no place for people who treat others like you did. Roger tried to stammer defense, but Ruth raised a hand. Enough. My decision is final. She stood, her expression unwavering. Louis will receive the promotion to senior financial planner. As for you two, go clean out your desks. You're both fired. Later that day, Louis sat quietly at his new desk, reflecting on the whirlwind of events. The promotion had been a surprise, but it wasn't what mattered most. What mattered was the reminder that kindness wasn't just a virtue, it was a choice. And making that choice, even when no one was watching, had made all the difference. Louis smiled to himself, knowing that true wealth wasn't found in degrees or designer suits. It was found in kindness, humility, and integrity, and he intended to carry those values with him every step of the way. Thank you for listening to this tale from the Whispering Light. I hope it brought a smile to your heart and a bit of wonder to your day. If you enjoyed the story and would like to journey with us through more enchanting adventures, please consider subscribing, clicking the bell icon for notifications, and hitting the like button. That way, you'll never miss a new chapter from Queen Simone's cherished collection. And if this story touched you, I invite you to leave a comment or share it with someone who could use a little more joy and magic in their life. Until next time, may your dreams be filled with light and laughter.